My name is Trevor Lecca, and I'm Dubsato's product education lead. And today's topic is SEO and website structure and how to turn clicks into clients. So this is a really great topic, I think, because just about every single business ever out there, whether they're a big business, a small business, somewhere in the middle, has some kind of online presence, some kind of websites. And it's never been easier with all the different web builders out there to actually build yourself a website, which is fantastic for those of us here who are small business owners, right? You can get going at your own pace and build your own unique website, which is really, really great. But the intricacies of actually setting up things like SEO and how to structure your website are things that don't get talked about enough. And I'm really, really excited to bring this topic to our users here today because I think it's super important to actually get found by our clients in the right way and actually convert those people into paying clients. So to help us talk about this topic today, we have a really fantastic guest. Her name is Sarah Warboys, and she's a website designer, SEO strategist, and Dubsato certified specialist who helps creatives, coaches, and consultants turn their existing websites into client converting machines. She specializes in simple human-first SEO strategies that cut through the jargon and actually work, and they also don't rely on social media or constant content creation. So if that sounds good to you all, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it with Sarah, and let's go ahead and bring her on. 1 second, move right here. And perfect. Hey, Sarah, how's it going?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm
Been
doing
like
fantastic.
in the back room watching you.
No, thank you so much for being here. Like I said, I'm really, really excited for this. And I cannot wait to jump through all these different details and stuff. I had the pleasure of reading through Sarah's slides a little bit earlier, and anybody who's here in attendance, I can tell you, you are in for a treat. So, Sarah, I'll let you take it away. Folks, if you have questions while Sarah is speaking, please feel free to throw those right there in the chat, and I will go ahead and attend to them if they're a simple question. Otherwise, if it's something that you want Sarah and I to discuss at the end, I'll go ahead and earmark it for the Q&A at the end. All right. Thank you so much. Sarah, go ahead and take it away.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so all right, before we get stuck into SEO, here's a quick intro about me and why I'm here chatting to you about search engines on a weekday in the Easter holidays. I'm Sarah, website designer, SEO strategist, and I'm also a Dubsado certified specialist. I work with service-based businesses, coaches, and consultants who are brilliant at what they do, but either their website's not pulling its weight or they're relying way too hard on social media to find clients. So I'm not here to promise you overnight results and throw a load of jargon at you. I'm here to show you how SEO actually works, why it matters for small businesses, and how you can start making small changes that actually lead to more eyes and more clicks on your site. So if you've ever felt like SEO is just for big businesses or techie people with way too much time on their hands, this session is going to change that. So let's make sense of all of this stuff. Okay, so let's talk about what SEO actually is. So it stands for search engine optimization, but honestly, just ignore the name for a second. What it really means is just making your website easier to find. It's not about learning new tricks or trying to beat the algorithm or anything like that. It's just about helping your website show up when someone's searching for something that you do. Whether they're looking for a photographer, a coach, a designer, whatever it may be, it's making sure that they can find you rather than somebody else. And yeah, Google is the main place that actually happens, but at the heart of it, SEO is more than about the people on the other side of the screen. It's about the real people searching for help with something. So you've got something that could help them. SEO just helps them to get to it more easily. So let's talk about why this actually matters, especially if you're a service-based business or a freelancer. The thing is, people are already searching for what you offer. That's happening whether or not your website's ready for it. And if your site isn't showing up, then someone else's is, and that's just how it works. And I get it. It can feel like SEO is only for bigger businesses with big marketing budgets. But honestly, small businesses actually have the edge here because we can be way more specific. We're not trying to rank for vague, generic stuff like business coach. We're trying to show up for things like business coach for creative freelancers or photographer for introverts, whatever your niche may be. That's what SEO can help you do. It helps your site connect with people who are actively looking for exactly what you do. You don't need to have a huge audience. You don't need to be the best at everything. You just need to be searchable. This takes us into some of the stuff that people believe about SEO and why it's not quite right. First up, this idea that SEO is only for big companies with big websites and marketing teams is absolutely not true. Small businesses actually have the advantage because we can be more specific. We're not trying to rank for massive broad topics. We're trying to get in front of the people who are looking for something really particular, and that's where SEO really shines. Then there's the thing about blogging. You don't need to churn out blogs every single week, although if you can, you totally should if you can. So if you've got content that's useful and clear and well targeted, then this content can keep working for you way longer after it's published. Keyword stuffing, that's another one. Repeating the same phrase over and over. That used to be a thing years ago, but now it just makes your content sound robotic and it actually doesn't help. It's more about the semantic SEO now, which means looking at what people mean when they search, not just what they type. It's about user intent, user experience, and whether your page actually answers the questions that they're asking. So instead of obsessing over one phrase like best windows for old houses and wedging it in every single paragraph, you want to write around the whole topic, the related terms, concepts, the context, the bigger picture. And then this is a big one right now, the idea that AI has made SEO irrelevant. It actually really hasn't. What AI is doing is changing the way that people search. So instead of typing best wedding photographer leads, someone might be asking something a bit more conversational, like who's the best photographer for laid back weddings in Yorkshire. That doesn't mean SEO is dead. It means we need to write like real people, answer questions clearly, and structure our content in a way that's both easy for humans and search engine, including AI tools, to understand. If anything, this shift makes good content even more powerful. And finally, the last one, SEO isn't a one-time tick box thing. It's not like ticking a box and being done forever. It's more like checking in now and again, looking at your analytics, doing your research in Google Search Console, updating things, adding context and content when it makes sense, and fixing anything that's not working. Now let's talk about the difference between SEO and social media, because they're not the same thing and they don't do the same job. Social is great for building connection. It's quick, it's visual, it's the way to stay front of mind. But let's be honest, most posts have a shelf life of like a day, maybe two if the algorithm is feeling generous. I think the longest one that I've seen recently is around a week. SEO works differently. You can create one solid blog post or update a service page, and it can bring people to your site years later. So you're relying on posting, you don't have to rely on posting all the time to stay visible. And the people coming from Google, they're usually in a different mindset. They're actively looking for something. They're searching for answers, products, services, which means they're closer to taking action. So I'm not saying that you should stop posting on Instagram or anything like that, but if you're only relying on social to bring in clients, you're basically starting from scratch every single day, because let's face it, Instagram literally damns you if you go off the grid for like a month. But SEO is slower to build, sure, but once it's working, it gives you something more stable to build on and lean on. This gets us into the next topic, SEO foundations and understanding domain authority. So domain authority, or DA, is basically a number between 1 and 100, and it gives you a rough sense of how strong your website is in terms of SEO. The higher the number, the more likely your site is to show up on Google. It's not an official Google score. It's something that was created, a tool created by Moz, but it's useful for getting a feel how well your site is doing. You can check your score for free at moz.com. You just need to pop in your URL and it will show you a number. Now, people get really caught up in this score. I don't want you to obsess over it because it's not the only thing that actually matters. What does matter is how you compare to other businesses offering the same thing in your area and niche. So if your competitors all have a DA around 15 and you're at 12, you're not far off. But if they're at like 40 and you're at 5, then you've got some work to do. So what actually influences your DA? So Moz doesn't actually completely explain, but here's what we do know what plays a role. So organic traffic, Google rewards websites that people actually visit. Backlinks, when other legit sites link back to yours, it builds authority. Internal linking, which connects your content and helps Google crawl your site. Obviously, site structure and crawlability. If Google can't read your pages, then it's not really going to work too well. And content quality, just as useful, being keyword smart content. Page speed is a huge thing, and mobile optimization, mobile responsive. So you don't want a slow, clunky site. And DA also changes over time. So if you start working on your content, building links, and improving your SEO foundations, that number will climb. This isn't something to obsess over, like I said, but it's great to keep a baseline and keep an eye on it as you build. Okay, so keywords. If the phrase keyword research makes your eyes glaze over, then I completely get it, because people get really confused about this. But honestly, it's just figuring out what people are typing into Google when they're looking for something like your service. That's it. It's not about chasing the most competitive search terms. It's about getting clear on your people, the people who actually want to work with you. What are they looking for when they're stuck? Because if we can figure that out, then we can write content that actually meets them where they're at. This doesn't have to be complicated. It can start with common sense, using your own client language, and then checking a few things in some SEO tools if you want to go deeper. So how do you actually find keywords? Honestly, like, one of the best places to start is just by listening to how your clients talk. What words are they using when they describe their problems or what they're looking for? That's gold, because if they're saying it, then they're probably going and searching it too. From there, look at what similar businesses are ranking for. That's a big one. You're not going to copy them, but it helps to know what's working for them. And then there are tools you can use as well. So you don't need to pay for anything fancy. Google itself is a great starting point. So just start typing in the search and look what suggestions that pop up. This is called Google autocomplete. Scroll down and look at the related searches. Those are real things that people are typing in, and also look at the people also ask section for questions that people are asking about this keyword. Another place is Facebook search as well. You can see what kind of questions users are asking in groups. Say, for instance, the Dubsado Facebook group. People ask questions every single day in that group, and you could probably use some of those things to create blog posts about. And if you want to go a bit deeper, Ubersuggest, Answer the Public, they're both free and they give free searches a day. They'll give you variations on questions, ideas you might not have thought of. So this is less about finding the keywords with massive search volume, but more about relevance. You want to use the word your clients are actually using. That's where connection and conversion will come from. So if you're trying to rank for big, broad keywords like wedding photographer or SEO help, unless your domain is really old and you've got a ton of backlinks, it's going to be very, very difficult to make this happen. So what can you do instead? You can get super specific, not just wedding photographer, but try documentary style wedding photography in New York. That's the kind of specific that will get you found. Use your location if your service is regional or local. Like, you can use it, Dubsado setup expert for UK creatives. Name your platform. If you're working in something niche, then like Dubsado, Show It, Notion, Say It. People search for experts in those exact tools. It's also about balancing search volume and keyword difficulty. You want to find that sweet spot, like keywords that are getting searches regularly, maybe like 100 searches a month, but then you want to find the keywords that are on the easy to possible scale, that don't have over 100,000 people fighting to rank for them. Search intent is a big one. It's basically about why someone is searching and what they're hoping to find. And there are four main types of search intent. So the first one is informational. These people are in learning mode. They might be searching for something like how to get more traffic from my website, or tips for writing an about page, or how to create a wedding timeline. They're not quite ready to hire someone yet, but they're looking for answers or ideas. And this is where your blog content can really shine. The main conversion here would be to get them onto your mailing list with some sort of free offer or get them into a funnel. And also, please note, email marketing is not the same as Dubsado. People always get this confused. Email marketing is essentially for your cold leads to put them into a funnel. Dubsado is for your hot leads. So informational is that they are at the awareness stage. Think blog posts, how-to guides, valuable information that position you as an expert. And then there's commercial. These are the people that are comparing options. They're not quite ready to buy, but they're getting close. They'll be searching things like best website builder for therapists or Showit versus WordPress. They're researching, they're weighing things up, and this is where you want to have helpful trust building content. So comparison posts, reviews, case studies, that sort of thing. So transactional, these are the people that are ready to take action. They might be searching something like website designer near me or Dubsado setup. They want to find someone to hire or a tool to buy, or they're looking for a solution right now. That's when your service page or a booking link is exactly what they need. And then finally, you have the navigational intent. This is when somebody already knows what they're looking for. So if someone types in like Flowdesk login or Sarah Warboys, they're trying to get to a specific site or brand. So this could be like a returning client, maybe someone who's lurked on your site before. Now they're hunting down your website, your login page, contact form, etc. This is all about brand visibility, nailing your brand SEO, clear page titles, meta descriptions, and making sure your homepage and services are easy to find. So the key thing here is if your content doesn't match the intent, usually people will just bounce. So even if you're ranking high for a keyword and it doesn't actually mean much if you're not giving them what they're actually looking for. So before you start writing or optimizing a page, ask what kind of mindset is this person likely in when they're searching this? And does this page actually reflect that? And remember, if you are stuck, you can always type your keywords into Google and you can see what kind of content comes up. And then it will give you a guide to see if you're on the right track to matching that correct intent. So this is the part where people usually say, okay, I've got some keywords, but what do I actually do with them? This is where keyword mapping comes in, finding relevant and related keywords to your main focus keyword. And all that really means is just matching each keyword to the right page on your website. So you don't want 10 different pages all trying to rank for that exact same phrase. That's called keyword cannibalization, and that confuses Google. And it's not great for the user either. So ideally, each phrase gets its own dedicated spot. And here's like a simple way to think about it. If someone's searching Webflow website designer, they should probably land on your service page because that's their end goal. And if they search how to choose a website platform, they're probably going to be searching for a blog post. They're researching, not ready to hire just yet. So once you know the focus keyword and the related keywords and the intent behind it, you can build the content to match. You can make sure that you are doing the following then. So you need to add your keywords naturally into your meta title, the bit that shows up in the Google results. And typically your title should be under around 160 characters long. Your main heading 1 tag, which you should only have one heading 1 on every page of your website. So somewhere near the top where Google and humans know what that page is about, in your meta description, in your image descriptions, and then naturally through the content itself. It isn't about repeating the phrase over and over again. It's about writing for humans while still showing search engines what your page is actually about. I know SEO audits sound a bit intense, but honestly, it's just checking your site to see how well it's set up for search. It's not about being perfect, so I don't think I've ever seen a website that has 100% health score. It's about being aware of what's happening on your website. So you're basically asking, can Google understand your site? Is there anything broken or missing? Are there any improvements you haven't made yet? You don't need to be a developer or an SEO expert to spot a lot of these things, and there are free tools that will flag up the basics. And most of the time, just fixing a few small things can definitely make a noticeable difference. So what I would actually suggest is just to create a free account in SEMrush, and you can run an audit yourself for free, and it will flag the errors, the warnings, and the notices. And then it will give you things that you can fix, like if there are any broken internal links, broken external links, no heading 1 tags, missing metadata, duplicate content, or any pages that are being blocked from being crawled. So this isn't about doing everything, it's about knowing where to focus. So if you want to run a quick audit without hiring someone, there are a few free tools that you can use to make it super easy. So here are a couple of them. You've got Google Search Console, which is a big one. If you've not set it up already, then you should definitely set it up after this. It shows whether Google is indexing your pages, what keyword you're already ranking for, and whether there are any errors that you need to fix. Screaming Frog sounds a little bit scary, but it's not. It's just a site crawler. The free version will give you loads of insights into broken links, duplicate content, and that sort of thing. SEMrush is another one that I really like to use. You can use the free option, so you can sign up for the free and you can get a basic audit, shows you technical issues. You can also use the paid version as well. If you want something really beginner friendly, then you can use Site Checker, and it gives you a visual summary with like green ticks, red flags, so you can get a feel of what needs the most attention. So don't worry about using all of them, just pick one. This isn't about getting it perfect right now. It's about knowing what's going on behind the scenes so you can make better decisions. So once you've done a quick check, how do you decide what to fix first? So start with the quick wins. These are things like making sure every page has a clear meta title and description, title and meta description, checking for broken links either on your site or linking to like linking from your website to other sites if they're broken links, compressing big images that are slowing down your site. That's a big one. Google's developers should suggest that a WebP image with lossy compression could be up to 25% to 35% smaller than a comparable JPEG file. So if you are using WordPress, then there are tons of free plugins that will convert image files for free to WebP. Making sure that your keywords are actually showing up in your heading 1 and subheadings. Like none of that is really hard and it can make a real difference. And then you've got like if you've got a bit more time, then you can dive a bit deeper. Things like whether your content is actually helpful, whether your pages are too thin or repetitive, whether you're linking between pages in a way that is helpful for both users and search engines to navigate. So this brings me on to Google Business Profile, which used to be Google My Business. Okay, so here's the deal with Google Business Profile. This isn't just something optional that you just set up and forget. It's how you show up on Google Maps. When someone searches for branding photographer near me or website designer Bristol, Google Maps is where they're going to be looking as this shows up first. And yes, even if you work online, if your clients are local, this still applies to you. People will Google you, and this is the first thing that shows up. Your profile literally appears above your website in search results, so you're actually missing out on an opportunity if you haven't got this set up. It massively boosts your visibility in local searches. It builds instant trust, so we're talking reviews, photos, FAQs, everything someone needs to help them decide within 5 seconds whether they're going to click or keep scrolling. Also, something good to note is Google prefers profiles that are active. That means updating hours, recent posts, linking to new blog posts, new reviews, fresh photos. All of that often helps you show up more often. So let's talk about Google, how it chooses what to show up in local results. So because there is kind of a method to this madness. So here's what Google is looking at. Relevance, are you actually what someone searched for? So if someone types in interior designer for cafes in Manchester and your profile just says designer, Google's going to pick someone more specific. It's all about those keywords and categories matching what people are typing in. Then the next one is distance. Are you near them or do you serve that area? Even if you work online, you can define your search areas and your service areas. That tells Google you're still relevant locally, even without having a physical office. Are you legit? Do you have reviews? Are you posting updates? Is your profile just gathering some dust, or are you actually showing up and showing signs of life? Website quality, that matters too. And here's the thing, Google also stalks everything else about your business across the internet. So your reviews, your NAP consistency, your name, your address, your phone number should match exactly across your website, your social media and directories. So your Google business profile does matter. So once your Google business profile is set up, we need to do the following things. Add relevant keywords to your business name. This helps you show up for people actually looking for those services. Keep your hours, phone number, website links up to date. I know it sounds basic, but so many people forget to update this. If someone calls and it's a wrong phone number, that's a lost lead. If you're closed when you're actually open, that's the same thing. I mean, I've definitely had this I've definitely had this problem when I've gone to restaurants and I've looked online and it says they're closed or vice versa. Use specific categories. Don't just pick designer, pick website designer, graphic designer, or even if it's more niche, if it's fits, the more specific, the more likely you'll pop up in relevant searches, and update photos regularly. Sorry. Also add the full list of your services and products. Even if they're on your website, you need to add them here too. And finally, this one's a bit underrated. Google reviews are gold. They're not just for show, they actually help you rank higher in local searches. So more reviews equals more trust and more visibility. So here's the thing as well. Most people won't leave a review unless you ask. It can be very difficult to get reviews sometimes. So this is an important part of your offboarding process in Dubsado. So I just want to talk about that a little bit, even though it doesn't relate to SEO. Well, it kind of does. So getting feedback and getting that Google review should be like top of your priorities. So in your Dubsado questionnaire, add a button to your Google reviews and then ask them to copy and paste their answers. Make it as simple as possible for them to put it into your Google review. And remember to always have follow-ups if your feedback form isn't complete. You should definitely be automating this. I have at least 2. And also ask them to mention like specific services in it or location. If you're local, that gives you extra optimization. And here's another thing that I like to add into my workflows for a little tip. If they fill out your feedback form and they don't leave the review on your Google, because sometimes that extra step is just a bit too much for people, you can have a to-do set up that after the form is complete, then you can check like an hour later to see if the review has been added. If it hasn't been added to your Google review, then what you can do is you can have after the to-do, have a trigger to send form, resend your form in an email with a button, get them to open both of the tabs in separate windows and say, please copy and paste these into my Google review. So as you can see, I'm kind of hot on getting the reviews, and this is something that I do for all of my clients in Dubsado as well, because I pretty much hammer them about it. So don't just get the reviews as well. You need to make sure that you're responding to them. It shows you're active, gives Google another reason to favor your profile over someone that's ghosting theirs. So now your profile's set up and it's looking really good. Let's talk about the extra bits that most people completely forget about. So there are some extra things that you can do in your Google business profile. And one of them is adding FAQs. So using keywords in your FAQs as well. So not just generic stuff. We want to actually look on Google from the people also ask section on Google and see what are people Googling about that. Can you create a question out of it that you can answer on your Google business profile and add into that? Post regular updates, like have you got blogs that you can post, upload those special offers behind the scenes, drop it in as a post in your Google business. And finally, like I said, ask for reviews and reply to every single one of them. It's kind of this stuff that puts you ahead, not because it's hard, but because most people aren't going to do it, to be honest. Okay, so here's one of the biggest things that I see when I audit websites. And this is one generic service page that lists every single service that you possibly have. So the problem is Google ranks individual pages, not your whole site. So if you're offering like 3 different services and they're all crammed onto one single page, then you're really hurting your chances of ranking for those individual services. But if each offer has its own page with its own keywords, its own structure, its own content, now you've got 3 separate opportunities to get found, and it's clearer for your potential clients too. So no, this isn't about writing more for the sake of it. It's about making each page more specific, more focused, and more helpful. So what goes on a good service page? And it's not just, here's what I offer, book me. You want to build a bit of trust, give people the information that they're looking for, and make it super clear what to do next. So start with a clear headline, say what the offer is and who it's for. If I land on the page, I should instantly know, yes, this is what I need. Please do not welcome people to your website. You do not need to welcome anyone. You need to tell them what it is that you are offering, and then speak to the why. What problem does this solve? What does it help people do or feel or achieve? From there, walk them through the process. What happens next if they book? What do they get? How long is it going to take? What's included? Add shining reviews that help build trust. I mean, if you can pull your Google reviews in some sort of widget onto your page, that's an added bonus because it builds trust with the visitor. And finally, tell them what to do. A lot of people forget this bit. Make the next step clear, book a call, fill out a form, download a guide, whatever makes sense for your business. And SEO wise, you want one main keyword for the page with relevant variations of that keyword, and then use them naturally throughout in the heading 1, subheadings, in the text, and in your page title and description. I've actually got a blog on my website that goes into way more detail if you want to check it out about service page structure. And I also have a service page wireframe, a basic wireframe in a Google Doc that kind of outlines questions that you can answer and how you can put together your service pages for service-based businesses. So what is on-page SEO? On-page SEO is everything on the page itself that helps search engines understand your content and helps people actually take action when they're there. So of course, keywords still matter, but so does how your page is structured, how quickly it loads, whether the headings make sense, whether the images are optimized, whether you've got a strong call to action. It's the full package. So you want your content to be clear, useful, easy to scan, and giving them a solution to their problem. Once you've done it a few times, honestly, this stuff will just become second nature. You don't need to have it perfect to see results. Small improvements really do make a difference over time. I'm going to go into a few of these in more detail in a second, but I've got an SEO checklist that you can download that basically breaks down everything quite clearly and walks you through each step. I think that Trevor's going to, I don't know, add the link at the end. I'm not sure how to do it on this, to be honest. So internal linking is exactly what it sounds like, linking from one page of your site to another. This does 2 really helpful things. It helps people stay on your site for longer, which is great for engagement and conversions, and it helps Google understand how your content is structured, which makes it easier for search engines to crawl your site and decide what's important. So let's say you've written a blog about what to include on your service page. Somewhere in that post, you could naturally link to your actual service page. Or if you're talking about Dubsado in a blog, link to your Dubsado setup service. That's a solid internal link and it's useful to the reader and also good for your site's SEO. Images are one of the biggest things that I see slow websites down, especially if you're uploading straight from your phone or from your camera. The first thing that I want you to do is compress them. Tools like Tiny PNG, don't worry, it's not just for PNG images, it's all of the files, and Squoosh will shrink the file size without ruining the quality. It literally takes about 2 seconds, and honestly, it makes a big difference. The second thing is give your files real names before uploading them. So instead of like having img underscore 23 or whatever, you need to name it something that's relevant to the page. So brand strategy workbook, or Google picks up on that and it also helps. And finally, alt text. This is what screen readers use to describe an image to someone who can't actually see it. So it's great for accessibility and also SEO. Just decide what's in the image, and if you can naturally include any keywords, then that's even better. Site speed really does matter, not just for SEO, but because if your website takes more than a couple of seconds to load, then honestly, most people won't stick around. And there are a few common things that slow down your site. So huge uncompressed images is one, using like 10 different fonts or fancy animations, having too many unnecessary plugins, or like cheap hosting is often a really, really big one as well. So you can test your speed using free tools like Page Speed Insights or GTmetrix. You can even right click on your site and you can inspect and then go to Lighthouse, and that will run a report as well for you. It will give you a breakdown of what's slowing things down. And most of the time it's stuff that you can fix by yourself or hand over to a website designer to sort that out. So the main thing is don't ignore it. A fast, clean site will always do better for users and for search engines. And I actually have a blog on image optimization as well that goes through a lot of content. So I can also link that as well. So off-page SEO is the stuff you don't publish on your own site, but it still influences how well your site ranks. Google looks at how connected you are. Are other sites linking to you? Are people talking about your brand? Do you show up in other places online? Think of it like reputation. If a few reputable sites are pointing back to you, Google sees this as a bit of a thumbs up, and it tells the algorithm this person knows what they're doing. We're not just talking about links here. Brand mentions, podcast, interview, guest blogs, even a strong Instagram profile that links to your site. It all contributes to how trusted your site looks from the outside. So a backlink is just a link from someone else's website to yours, and it's one of the strongest indicators to Google that your site is legit. Think of it of like another site vouching for you. It's a trust signal. There are a few ways to get them, like writing guest blogs, being interviewed on podcasts, creating resources or blog posts that people would naturally want to link to, listing yourself in relevant directories, which is also called local citations. You can also do email outreach, but honestly, this takes a lot of time, and you'll probably be sending like 50 emails and just getting one reply. So it's definitely not for the impatient, and it can be a bit disheartening. If you're short on time and you want a shortcut, you can also buy high quality backlinks from reputable providers like RhinoRank, for instance. They specialize in sourcing legit relevant links that aren't spammy. It does cost money, but it can save a lot of time and speed things up if you're trying to boost your domain authority or support a specific page. Please do not buy links from shady link farms, and definitely do not buy from Fiverr ever. And also don't expect overnight results. Whether you're earning backlinks or buying them, it's a long game, but it does pay off. One thing that people often ask is, does social media help with SEO? And the answer is not directly. Social signals like comments, shares don't actually factor into your search ranking, but social does help in a few important ways. It gets more eyes on your content. It creates opportunities for people to link to you, and it builds trust because someone who finds your site might check out your Instagram before they ever get in touch with you. So no, social isn't SEO, but it supports it. Social brings traffic, directing them to your freebies, services, new blogs, and builds connection. SEO makes sure the site that they land on is doing the job. So it's not either or. They work best when they support each other. Okay, navigation is surprisingly like the underrated part of SEO. So good navigation helps people. So sorry, Sorry, good navigation helps people find what they're looking for quickly. And when people can move through your site easily, they stay longer. They're more likely to click around and they're more likely to take action, which is all good signals for SEO. So keep it simple, use clear page names, no like random quirky labels like the magic or my stuff. If no one know, I mean, I've seen so many people naming their services that actually aren't really related to their services. So if no one knows what that means, then it's not really going to help. So call your blog blog. I know people like to call it articles, news, journal. Call your services, or name them clearly. Also, try not to bury important pages like under 3 layers of drop downs. If someone has to go hunting for it, they probably won't. So this is one of those little tweaks that can genuinely improve both your user experience and your SEO. I know blogging can feel like one of those things you should be doing, but you don't have the time for, or you don't really see the point of. But a blog isn't about telling people what you've been up to. It's not a diary and it's not a portfolio either. Your blog should be full of useful content that speaks to the kinds of questions your ideal clients are already typing into Google. So stuff like, what should I include on my homepage? How do I choose a wedding photographer? What's the difference between Squarespace and WordPress? Answering those kind of questions in blog posts helps you get found before someone's ready to hire. It builds trust and positions you as someone that knows their stuff. And when they're ready to book, they already feel familiar with you. So they're probably going to come back to you. You don't need to blog weekly. You just need a few of really solid blog posts that are well optimized, that can do the heavy lifting for you. So also about your blog doesn't just help with your visibility, it can also support your marketing in really useful ways. So if you've got a free resource or a lead magnet, your blog is the perfect place to share it. You don't need to be pushy, just add it in naturally. Like if you want a checklist to help with this, you can grab mine here. Or you can add like a highlighted designed layout within your blog with some short code that embeds to your opt-in form so they can download directly from the blog. Just make it really easy for them. Also highlight it. You can highlight it in the sidebar with a CTA, a strong CTA. Someone might not hire you straight off the back of a blog post, but they will more than likely sign up for a free offer, and then you can nurture and get that sale. You can also use blog posts to link directly to your services, case studies, FAQs. Again, it's not about the hard sell, it's just gently guiding people towards the next step. Blogging gives you space to add value before you ask for anything. And for the people who aren't already ready to inquire yet, that softer approach does usually work. So let's talk about your inquiry process and the types of way you can integrate this into your contact page. There's no, this is the best way to get inquiries. Every business is different. So you might want a bit of and this is kind of Dubsado related as well, you might want a pre-qualifying process in place. Maybe you only want serious inquiries or you need to ask a few questions first. A lead capture form is great for that. It lets people reach out, gives you the space to decide whether it's the right fit before booking anything in. But if you're happy for people to jump straight into your diary or you want to remove that back and forth completely, a scheduler, like an embedded scheduler, Dubsados might work better. Okay, now when it comes to your contact page, I would probably just pick one because I wouldn't offer up a form and a scheduler on the same page because it could just create a bit of confusion. People won't know what to do, and usually confused people might click away. So make the action super clear, keep the page focused, and give a bit of context like what happens after they submit or book. How soon can they expect to reply? And Dubsado is great for this because you can add a redirect page with all this information after they submit it. And you can even add like a cheeky little welcome video in there, which is a nice touch for client experience. So if you are using Dubsado, the reply auto response email should be instant, like workflow automation, people. So SEO can feel like a big job, but the worst thing you can do is try to get wrapped up at doing everything at once and then getting overwhelmed. Just pick one thing to start with. Maybe it's running a quick audit with one of the tools that I mentioned. Maybe it's rewriting your service page so it's clearer and better, or taking that one service page and making it into your three separate services. Maybe it's checking your site speed and sorting out your images, or maybe it's making sure your website is optimized for mobile and mobile responsive, which is a big one. Whatever it is, start small and then just build from there. And if you're not sure what to tackle first, I've got a free SEO checklist that you can download. It will give you a free service wireframe with important things to include, as well as the step-by-step guide in there as well. So thank you everyone for joining. Let's be finished.
All right, Sarah, thank you so much for doing all that. That was fantastic. We do have some questions from the Q&A here, so I can go ahead and jump right into those, although of course my Q&A slide just deleted itself. Where did it go? There we go.
Did I stop screen sharing now?
You did, yeah. No, you're
All
perfect.
right.
Fantastic.
I did something right.
No, you nailed it. I was trying to go ahead and copy your checklist, copy your link into there real quick. Let me throw that in the chat for anybody who wanted that. I posted it earlier, but just wanted to show it again. There's Sarah's checklist link. As well as some folks were asking if we can make the slides that you were just talking about available. Would that be okay?
Yeah, sure. That's absolutely fine. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so like I said, we do have some questions here. Quick question from HR. He was asking, what is a good amount of backlinks to have? Like, what number should you aim for? Is there a number you should aim for, or is it going to be different for every business? But he was just curious about the quantity of backlinks.
Yeah, I mean, it is different for every single business with the different business niches. And I would say if you can acquire a couple of backlinks a month, then that would be great. But also deciding what the page is going to, the backlink is going to be linked to, like your service page, for instance, you want to make sure that you're linking the most relevant pages as well. Yeah, it really depends on your niche as
Yeah,
well.
totally makes sense. Is there some rationale there as well where you want a variety of backlinks and not just backlinking all to the same page? Would that make a difference there, or having a bunch of different backlinks all from different places going to one page? Would that matter at all?
I would genuinely try to link to your service pages and your home page as well, but service pages are the most important. So
Right.
I link to specifically to those service pages.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. All right, we've got some more questions coming in here. We
Okay.
had an anonymous question from someone asking about Google business profiles. So they're a freelance editor and book coach, but when they tried to set up their profile, their business category wasn't listed and it wasn't letting them type it in. What do you recommend for somebody who's having an issue with their specific business category and setting up their Google business profile? Do you have any experience with that?
Yeah, so the categories can be limited. So I would put a category to start with, one that is kind of relevant. And then when you go into it, you can actually add your own category. So at first you can't choose one, but you can add more categories when you've actually created the profile.
Got it. Okay, so it comes down to just kind of picking the best option that it provides to you to begin with, and then once you kind of get going, it lets you get a bit more
A
specific.
lot of the time, people will click consultant for a lot of things, and then you can then nail down and add other categories. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. All right. Dr. Shay Allison Thompson asks, she wanted to know if these strategies apply more for on-the-ground businesses or online businesses, or would you say they are equally relevant for both brick and mortar and online exclusive businesses?
I would say for both. What, for Google Business Profile or just for in
Just in
general?
general, I think she was mentioning, like, is this something that somebody who has a brick and mortar location would need to worry about less? Or would you say, I mean, my 2 cents on it, it seems like in today's day and age, it would matter a ton for any kind of business, but
Any business,
yeah,
yes, 100%. I mean, Google Business Profile, if you're in a physical site, is 100% important. It's still important if you're an online business owner because you can still set up your service areas. I know that it is really difficult at the moment and they're cracking down with the verification process, and the whole video thing is making people pull their hair out. So I would say set up service areas. Rather than trying to put in your physical location if it's not allowing you to verify it as well.
got it.
But yeah, SEO in general, 100% for every business owner, everybody that has a website, both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. Okay, cool. All right. Michelle has a question here. Let me read through it. You
Mhm.
mentioned not to use cheap hosting. So what are some website hosting sites that you do recommend? She uses WordPress for just for context there. And do you have an opinion on WordPress as well?
Yes, so I obviously use WordPress. I'm a WordPress designer. Cheap hosting, GoDaddy, please avoid it like the plague. Yes, it's fine to, but like I say, the things that I just do not like is Mailchimp for email marketing. I really don't like it. And GoDaddy. It's fine if you want to purchase your domain there, that's not a problem. But hosting, they have this way that they try and make you pay for anything to upgrade. So you actually have to pay for an SSL, which you shouldn't have to. You have to pay for extra email, which you shouldn't have to. So GoDaddy avoid. Good hosting. I use SiteGround. I think that they are great. There are loads of really good hosts out there. I think Hosting is another one. I think Bluehost isn't so great. I mean, there are a ridiculous amount of hosting, but for me personally, with my websites, I use SiteGround and they have amazing support. I've never had a problem with them. So, and they are relatively good pricing as well.
Fantastic. No, I love that. Okay, cool. Ali asks, when writing image alt descriptions, does it make a difference updating the image title description as well as the image alt? So like how specific would you get if you're trying to add in some maybe keywords or descriptions for those image alt descriptions? Just the title, or what would you think there?
I would add the relevant keywords to the alt text. I would also, so with all my clients and the websites that I build, I compress all of the images, I resize them, especially
Yeah.
for photographers, and then I would save it as the image, the keyword, and then also add what the image is, what the image actually is, but then
Mhm.
also add the keyword in there as well. So yes,
Okay.
that does make a difference.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. Let's see here. We've got a bunch of questions coming in. Hang on.
Yeah.
All right. Kelly asks, how can I check if my Google business profile is actually verified correctly? I keep getting calls saying my profile is not verified correctly anymore. How often do you need to re-verify your profile? And someone below also mentioned that those calls might be scammers. Have you had experience with that? This is actually something that I'm not super familiar with, so I'd love to hear your thoughts here.
There are a lot of scammers out there. I've seen in groups about people putting bad reviews on Google Business and then people emailing saying, I can remove these bad reviews. Like there has been a lot of that recently. I mean, you would know by logging on if your profile isn't verified because there would be like a red error mark to say
Sure.
that you are, if it's blue ticked, if it's ticked, then it's fine. So just log on and have a look. I mean, it could be somebody trying to scam you because there is a ton of that going around. I mean, the amount of spam emails that I get for optimize your site and all of those things, I'm sure everyone gets them, and it's
Yeah,
such a pain in the backside every single day.
massively. Yeah. Kelly, stay safe out there. I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully you're not getting scammed and hopefully your site is actually verified. All right. Rachel, sorry. Rachel asks, for a local business, how important is it to put a physical address on my Google business profile? I'm an interior designer, so I work in clients' homes, but I don't have an actual office. Do you recommend I list my home address for the local SEO?
You can list your home address, but like I said before, Google is making it very hard to get that verified. If you like, usually it will ask you to do a video and show certain things. And if you don't have that, then it won't verify your profile. So what I would suggest is you can set it up without an address and do your service areas. So it will allow you to choose your service areas. So
Mhm.
I would do that. And also you can put your address and then you can hide it as well. So you do have that option.
Got it. Okay, cool. So if you're doing that route and you're not putting in an address per se, how does that verification process work then? It doesn't ask you to do the video. Again, this is something I'm not super
Oh,
familiar
it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't ask you to do the video.
with. Got it.
I think sometimes it will just ask you via phone number
Okay,
to verify.
got it. Cool. And then just to follow up on the question earlier about on the ground versus online businesses, these strategies are just for both of those, correct? It just sounds like she wanted to have more further clarification on that. And that's yes, correct.
Yeah, I mean, mainly I've just gone over, obviously for e-commerce businesses, there's so much more in depth, like it's different, but this has mainly been for like service-based businesses.
Totally. Okay, cool. Fantastic. All right. I think that's about it as far as questions from our attendees are concerned. I was wondering, How often would you say, like, let's say some of our attendees here in the chat are able to take some action here after this webinar and get things up to speed a little bit, but how often would you recommend they go back through and kind of revisit some of the topics they may have set up? Like, how often do you actually edit or audit really your website SEO once you kind of have something in place?
I mean, I would say if you can, make sure that you are trying to do some blogging, that will definitely help your site. But I would always, I mean, I'm constantly on my website, I'm constantly updating on my blog. I mean, I know as a business owner, like doing my, I'm doing so much work for other people that
Sure.
I don't always do as much work on my website, which I do need to do. But I would say, like, look at your Google's. I've got some blog posts on how to use Google Search Console for keyword research, so I can also link those as well.
Mhm.
But I would say if you've got your Google Search Console set up, then just go in like every month and look at what impressions you're getting, what pages are getting clicked through to, and see what are getting the highest impressions. Can you integrate those keywords into another blog? Can you integrate them into your service page? And that will give you some insights onto your website, what kind of work you need to do. But I mean, I know that people obviously don't want to work on their website all the time. So I'd say try at least like once or twice a month to have a look and see if there are any improvements that you can make.
Cool. That's essentially what I figured. It sounds like the kind of thing that once you kind of get going, it's easier to just sort of chip away at it consistently, but at least, once or twice a month, something like that, right?
Mhm.
Fantastic. Alexandra asks, or she'd mentioned this has been great, which is awesome, but they wanted to know if they could reach out after the session. Do you have a preferred way that you want any of our attendees here to contact you?
Yeah, I mean, you can pop me an email
I'll
if
throw
you
your
want to
email
link
in the chat here.
my address. Yeah, it's oh, okay, you've got it.
I was ready to go. I was locked and loaded
You're
on that
like
one.
hot on that.
Gotcha. Okay, and then let's go last question here. We're at the top of the hour here from Kate. She asks rather, which quick action to take that you mentioned would be the kind of best ROI? So if you were somebody who had a minimum or a small amount of time and you're like, man, this is a lot of good stuff. What can I tackle that's going to have the biggest impact that would maybe have, the least amount of time per se? She's just trying to decide what to do first, really.
I mean, there are so many different things. Like it really depends because each kind of strategy is different for each business niche.
Sure.
So it could be starting a blog, like I don't know where they are in their business. So it could be starting a blog, making sure that you're creating blog content to get them onto your email list. It could be, do you have that one service page? Can you split those into free service? Like that's really going to help you. So
Totally.
I would say those are kind of the two things that I would start with. Google loves fresh content. So go through, have a look. Another thing is go through your old blog posts and see what can you update on there that is more relevant and to get more traction as well.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Everyone, I want to thank you all so much for being here. And Sarah, especially you, I really want to appreciate and thank you for your time. This presentation has been fantastic. I can tell people here are really getting a lot out of this. So, everybody tune in next week for another great webinar. If you are looking forward to the replay, it will be emailed to you in about an hour after this presentation is done. I'll make sure to include Sarah's slides as well. And you can also find this on YouTube with the slides and links to her checklist as well on YouTube. So, thank you, everybody, again. Sarah, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much. I'd love to have you back on again, and we'll catch you next time, okay?
Thank you. You too.
Good.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.